welcome to another episode of That Black Girl.
It's Four-Eyed Black Girl. You don't even know your own stuff.
Hi, and welcome to That Four-Eyed Black Girl Bree podcast. I am, as always, your host, Brianna. And today I have a very special guest with me today. But before we get into our topic and our special guest introductions, I do want to let you guys know, thank you guys so much for your support and your efforts just to come in and listen to what I have to say. It really means a lot to me. Please keep in mind, I am not a life coach. I am not a therapist. This is just me providing you guys things, gems and advice that I've been given in hopes that it may encourage and uplift you in regards to certain things that are going on in your life. So please feel free to like, share, comment on YouTube. If you are listening in on a podcast, please go ahead and subscribe and leave a review. I want to know what you guys think of my podcast. As of right now, on the first episode alone, I've had 25 downloads from Buzzsprout. So thank you guys so much for just downloading and listening in. It really does mean a lot to me that you guys support my mission and what I'm doing here on this channel. So thank you guys so much. All right. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and introduce my guest co-host for this podcast. She has been really a support system for me for the past 9 years? 8?
I guess. I don't know.
8, 9 years?
Sometimes.
She has been a support. She has really been a support system for me.
The long lost cousin.
The long lost cousin. We did discover that we were cousins.
Like,
but
like, I think that's the funniest story though.
But we started off as friends, and then we, later found out that we were cousins.
Yeah, we did.
So, but I figure on this journey, I take you through, our relationship and just her sharing some of her, her journeys of, our topic that we're going to be discussing today. So, without further ado, I would like to introduce my cousin, Asia.
Hi!
Hi, welcome.
Hey!
How are you?
We always want.
Hi, friends. Sorry, brief intermission. But I wanted to introduce my cousin, Asia.
Hey!
Hi, you doing okay?
Well, let's see. In this podcast, I'm not okay.
Yes.
So I'm going to go with I'm not okay.
She's okay. Today she's okay. She's with me. So she's okay.
That might be the issue. Why I'm not okay is that I'm with you.
But that's the topic for today, if you guys haven't already known. Is today we're going to be talking about it's okay to not be okay.
But I'm not okay.
You are okay. She is. I promise you guys she is. But no, today's topic, we're just going to go ahead and dive in. So you guys, as always, grab your wine. If you have water, grab water. I have my wine right here. I'm back with the water. I'm back with the wine today. But yes, please go ahead and just come on in the room and grab your water and wine, and we're just going to go ahead and just dive in. So today this episode I couldn't think of a better individual to talk about, just not being okay. Because she is such a strong, resilient person in my eyes. I know she probably doesn't think of herself as that, but to me, in our relationship, she's always shown me just so much strength and so much resilience, and just how she is just there for each and every person in her life. And what she's been able to overcome has shown her that she is able to just stop, and have the acceptance of not being okay.
Mm.
I mean, there have been even moments where, while we were, going through what you were overcoming, and you had told me, I'm not okay.
Yeah.
And and I remember that conversation we had prior to you saying that you're not okay. You said you had to be okay, that you had no choice but to be okay.
A lot of those moments, like, oh, I mean, to be honest, like, I think black, as African American women, we are taught at a very young age to be okay no matter what.
Yeah.
We are taught to be the breadwinners, the nurturers, the caretakers, the everything in our families. And so if you're not okay, then that means your family's not okay, and that's never an option. And so we always have to be okay to do the things that we have to do for our family. So,
Yeah. It's a
yeah.
No, you're fine. It's
Wow.
it's like a pillar. Like you have so many pillars on top of like your coliseum
Mm-hmm.
that you have. And if any of those pillars just have a crack or just diminish, it's our job to just repair it, because people rely on us so much to be that strength for them.
Yeah.
And going through what you've overcome, I've had the precious opportunity to go through some of the things with you and just see moments of where you weren't okay. And you, more than anyone, has really, even though I've told you, it's okay. Like, I've given you that validation.
Yeah.
I've given you that validation, like, more times than not. Like, it's okay not to be okay. I think you have really just shown growth in that.
Mm-hmm.
And you have literally just been able to just vocalize it, because I believe there was a point you just weren't able to do that at all. Like, you weren't able to literally think or speak.
Yeah.
That.
I mean, but God has a way of doing that in our lives where, he breaks us down, like you said, to the point where we have to admit that he's in control.
Mm-hmm.
And we have to release control. And that's really what I feel like not being okay sometimes is what it's really about.
Mm-hmm.
Is us as human beings having a need to control something and then realizing we can't control it.
We can't.
And so what are the steps and the things that we have to do to be able to release that control? It's not easy.
No, it's not. I mean, and having control in a lot. No, I'm sorry, not having, but assuming that
Yes.
you have control over a lot of things comes in many different aspects. Not just the experiences that you've went through, but it could also come through in ways of relationships that you have with certain people. It can come in regards of parenting. It can come in so many aspects of your life that you're being shown in many different ways that you don't have that control.
Yeah.
And then once you learn to let go of that control and give it over to the Most High or your Creator, it just allows you to just be totally free.
Yeah.
And it allows you to process all of the pain and the hurt that you've gone through, and knowing that one day, it may not be today, it may not be tomorrow, it may not even be the day after that, but just knowing that one day you're going to be okay.
Yeah.
And having those moments too.
Acknowledging, I think for me, was the ability or the freedom to acknowledge those moments I think having a support around you that's giving you that freedom um, is a big thing. I mean, if you don't have anyone around you that allows you to say, I'm not okay at this moment, um, it will really teach you that you have to put that fake smile on. It teaches you, it keeps you heavy, because it keeps you holding on to those burdens for longer than what you ever should be holding on to those burdens. And so that, I think that's the appreciation that I have for you, is that you always allowed me to say that I'm not okay. And like you said, even in those moments of parenting, I've had a lot of those moments in parenting, that, you know, you're like, did I do this right? Hold on, is this kid? I mean, you have so many of those moments. You, right, as a parent, we question a lot of our choices, our thoughts. Like, you know, I think you wake up and be like, is this what I did? Is this going to put my kid into therapy for the next 4,500 years?
Yes.
You know, like, I mean, I think about like one choice and it's like, is that going to put her into therapy? Hold on.
It may, it may not.
Well, if it does, let me go ahead and get that bill money together. Right.
Yes.
Right. I mean, and it's a heavy pressure, but then you have to realize, and you come to terms as a parent, that you do the best that you can do. You love your child, and then you hand your child back over to the creator. Mm-hmm. And I think that's really what it is. It's like, I do what I can do, but at the end, I hand it over to really who she is, you know, and who made her, and, you know, and you just go with it, and you know, you learn how to go with the flow of stuff. And it's, whew, I know, me being the control freak that I am, that's really hard, but I'm learning every day to relinquish more and more of my control.
Yeah. Or
what I think I have control over. Because it's all a relative perspective, because at the end of the day, we have no control over anything. And so, because we don't really have control over anything, we have to release everything.
Right.
And you go through that process of releasing. And that's really what it's about.
Right. So take me through the moment that you realized that you had no control, and how you acknowledged that how you acknowledged that you weren't okay with that, not having that control, and then coming to the realization that even though you don't have that control anymore, it was going to be okay.
Ooh, that is hard. The moment. I don't know if I ever really can say that I knew there was a particular moment that I did not have control. Mm-hmm. Or I know just a little bit of my story, breast cancer survivor. Thank you. Yay. So I just remember one night, I can't say if I had just had chemo or if it was a few days after chemo.
I remember this.
But I was just crying. I was just crying, and the tears were not tears from the chemo or because of cancer. The tears were the tears of all the hurt, all the self-doubt, all those nasty insecurities that I had been hanging on to in the pit of your stomach, or in that file cabinet in the back of your head, that it only creeps out at that midnight hour, when no one's around, no one's there to tell you how beautiful you are, no one's there to tell you how gorgeous or whatever. There's no one around to kind of pump you up. And those are the moments where that file cabinet comes out and tells you every ugly thing, and you start and it starts replaying all those ugly moments of your life that you're like, I need to forget, or it wasn't the best moment. And I just remember at that moment I was crying all of that. And I kind of felt when every one of those tears, one of those memories was attached to those tears. And I was just like, and I was crying for hours. I mean, like, I want to say I may have started at like 6 o'clock, and it was maybe 4 o'clock in the morning. I mean, and I'm like, I am still crying. I mean, because I just had that much insecurity, that much pain, that much heartache inside of me. And I was just like, oh my God, how in the world have I carried all of this with me for this long? And it was just me crying that. And then the tears stopped, and I kind of felt like I had nothing. Because even though I had negative thoughts about myself, at least I had something.
Yeah.
I had something
Some
of
sort
me.
of feeling.
Yes, there was something. And so when I finally stopped, and I kind of felt like I had nothing, and so it was, what do you do when you have nothing? Where do you go when you have nothing? You know, and that was where I was just like, oh shit, I have nothing. And it really hit me. Like, I have nothing, which means I'm not okay, because I have to have something. We have to have something. We have to, whether it's good, bad, ugly, or indifferent. As human beings, we need something. And so the thought to think that I had nothing made me realize I can't be okay with this, and I got to figure out what it is that I need and what it is. And I think that morning I called you.
Yeah, I remember
that. I called you, and because I had my daughter, and I said, I just need you to come get her, because I need some time to figure out what it is that I really do need in order to become okay. And so I took a day. You came and got her, didn't ask any questions. I cried some more. But in that time of crying, I realized my higher power, my God, was right there, and he was releasing me to say, I need you to let all of this go, and I'm going to take all of this in order to make you into what I want you or need you to be.
I will say this. When I did come in and I saw you, I did ask. I said, are you okay? And you did say no, and that was all I needed to hear.
Yeah, you did. And I wasn't. And I God broke me enough to say that I'm not okay. You know, I think so often we like to be in the field with the pretty roses and the lovely valleys and the beautiful sun. And we never want to think of ourselves or think that we've done anything ugly.
No.
Right? Everything. I mean, even the most people will be like, oh, if they did something ugly, oh, it is because this person did this. Like, we always try to justify our ugliness. And in that moment, I couldn't justify my ugliness. I couldn't justify anything. So I had to say, I'm not okay, because I'm sitting here in this ugly pit of my stomach and looking at this person who doesn't reflect 100% the woman that I wanted to be.
Mm-hmm. And I think you've actually had moments like that. Like, I felt like, there were different stages of Asia that has allowed you to evolve.
Oh, yeah.
And elevate yourself to a point where, even though you've acknowledged it,
Oh, yeah.
and you still have your moments, which is totally, valid.
I mean, but God is always, we're
Right.
always evolving. We're always becoming something more. We always want to make sure we're getting into a better version of ourselves, because, you always hear the only thing that is constant is change.
Yeah.
And so when we start getting complacent and not changing, then that's when we're really saying, that's even more when we're saying we're not okay. And change only happens in those, I don't want to say dark moments, but there has to be some type of conflict.
Yeah.
There has to be something, and some type of pressure, something to cause something to change.
Yeah.
And in that science class, you need pressure, you need heat, you need some kind of element to make you change. And so life throws us circumstances that either you're going to burn up in it, or you're going to change with it.
Mm-hmm.
And evolve into something greater. And so I can't sit here and say that all my life in every lesson, the first time I, I changed and I grew. I think there's been a lot of times in my life where I had to go through that fire a couple of times before I learned, like, oh, let me change this. let me grow a little bit.
Right.
Let me this.
Right. But I think in your instance, when you were diagnosed, when you got that diagnosis, it was just so impactful that it literally forced you to be put in a situation where you had no choice.
Yes. Yep.
And of course, no one ever wants, someone that you love to go through certain things. And just to see you in a place where you were trying to hold it together, it was just so, it hurt for me to see you like that. Because I know you carry so much. Even till this day, you still carry so much. But I know it's for good. It's not for bad. It's for good. But knowing that it was for other people and not yourself, I believe that was really, it was what I was trying to tell you. It's okay for you to have that validation that you're not okay.
Yeah.
And I think that's one thing for me, that I keep reminding myself is, you have that validation to not be okay. It's okay to say I'm not okay.
Mm-hmm. And it's also okay. I would say through my journey, I've learned to also put myself first.
Yeah.
I, like we say, as Black women, we are taught so often we are supposed to take care of everyone around us. The kids, the husband, the friends, this. If you're not doing this for a friend, you're not a good friend. If you're not this, we get told, and not that necessarily we're told, we are just shown, this is just what you do. You be a strong Black woman. You hold everybody down. You hold them down through it all, through their crisis.
I only hold certain people down to this day. I'm sorry. I'm just being honest.
But but that's what we're taught, and that's
yes.
that is the mindset that we get in our culture. So often that's what we're supposed to be, and so often we forget about ourselves.
We do. Well, it's not that we're not, I believe in some aspects, we're not allowed to have a moment for ourselves.
Yeah,
because we're portrayed as someone that's strong, that is the matriarch of our lineage, that is someone who, shouldn't talk about it.
Right.
Don't ask, don't tell. There's just
Right.
a lot of those instances, and I can think of number of instances where, my mom would be like, okay, I mean, it is what it is.
Right.
End of discussion. We're not talking about it anymore.
But I think like that is also what's holding us back. So often is because we are taught that. We are taught to be the matriarchs. We are taught to be all of these things. We're taught to hold everybody down. We're all of this that we don't get taught to say, you know what? I'm not doing that. I'm going to go ahead and do this for me. And I'm going to do this all day for me. And then the moment we say something like that, you're selfish. You want to get called out your name. It's all this other stuff. And it's just like, no. And I'm learning to say this. If I don't take care of me, how in the world can I ever take care of anybody else? And so it's taking the time out and giving yourself the permission to take care of you. Mm-hmm. So therefore, you are always giving someone the best version of yourself.
Right.
And I think that is one thing that I have learned is like now I need to show up 24/7, the best version of Asia. Mm-hmm. And in order for me to take the best version of Asia has to take a weekend, phone off. I'm not talking, no kid, no nothing. And I'm going to think only about what Asia wants to do. So if Asia wants to sleep until 4 o'clock in the morning, Asia's going to sleep until 4 o'clock in the morning. Asia's going to then run her a bubble bath, have a glass of wine. Hey, Asia wants to take herself on a trip. Asia's going to take herself on a trip for a couple of days. But I have to do that once a month and for a weekend to be able to, like I said, show up to everybody else the best version of me.
Yeah.
And so I think people don't realize how hard that is. Because it is very difficult because you think you're taking away when you start spending time and doing something for yourself. You're like, oh my God, I'm being selfish. I should be doing this for someone else. This person really needs me, because I've had moments where people are like, oh, I need you to do this. And I'm like, oh, that's my weekend. I'm sorry. I can't be there for you because I need to be here for me. I need to show up for me. And that's real. And I think that is something that we need to start teaching our children, how to show up for themselves. Giving them the opportunity to say, this is what I need for me. Mm-hmm. And then owning in on it and doing it. This is what I need for me.
Yeah, I told, just example yesterday, it's our busiest season right now with work, and my brain was just at mental capacity. Like I could not process any more information that I was already getting. And on top of that, my work suffered because, I had to step in and fill the shoes of a, employee role. And by the time everything was all said and done, I literally went upstairs and, Peyton was trying to talk to me. I'm like, Peyton, I'm sorry. Like, I need a moment. Like, mommy just needs a moment. Can you please give me that? Mm-hmm. And we've had those conversations, where I've talked to Peyton and I'm just like, Peyton, I love you. I really do. But mommy has times where I just need a moment.
Yeah.
Can you give me that? And where she recognizes that mommy really does need a moment.
Yeah. And I have to say that I think Zara has really, with going through cancer, like, she looks at me and she'll be like, Mommy, it's time for you to lay down. Mm-hmm. And she recognizes, like, it's just mommy needs to lay down. Mm-hmm. Even though I'm not in active treatment, I still am not like I can go 24/7, and I can go and then have to stop and breathe and take a moment and take some time. And so I remember just recently we went and we were out. Oh, excuse me. We went grocery shopping. Just a normal kind of everyday doing week. We do grocery shopping every 2 weeks, so our bi-weekly grocery. Walking down the aisles and everything, and so we came home. We put the groceries away, and Zara wanted to go somewhere, and I had told her we were going to go. But once we did all that pre-work, this mom was tired. Mm-hmm. This mom was tired, and she turned, and I said, Mommy just needs to lay down for a few. And she turned to me and she said, Mommy, it's okay. Take your nap. Mm-hmm. And I took my nap, and we ended up, I think we both ended up falling asleep. And so we missed whatever it is that we were supposed to be doing. But it was just that recognizing that we sometimes got to do what we need to do for us. It's not that we don't want to spend that time, do the things with our kids or anybody. It's just, I have to put my needs first.
Yeah. And I think sometimes, your kids know that more than you do.
Oh, yeah.
Because, they're with you constantly. And what I try to do with Peyton is, just being open and honest. And just letting her know, like, there's only so much mommy can do. And I have the most understanding kid. Like, she is so understanding. She is so patient with me most of the time. And even with all that I've gone through, with my anxiety, she still recognizes moments where I just need a moment.
Yeah. I mean, but like I said, I love teaching her. I think the one thing that we have always talked about is also giving them the permission not to be okay. Mm-hmm. And I think that's the biggest thing, because I remember when Zara came to me and was like, Mom, I just need to talk. And she was so dramatic and such in Zara form. But she talked about how she was really mad about cancer and how she never wants to hear the word. It makes her cry. She hates the word. She's, not any of this. She's not about any of that. And I said, okay. And, and you let her have her moment of not being okay. Because they experience all the horrible stuff that we experience too. Mm-hmm. And so giving her the permission to not be okay. Mm-hmm. Is what I think what we try to do, and just let them express themselves. Mm-hmm. As much. I know one of my cancer buddy talks about, her child, she gave them, they have a day a week where they get to say their cuss words to vent how they feel, and then after that it's like, nope. But it gives them, I'm like, I was sitting there telling, like, not in this household, because my kid will just take it over the edge.
I owe my kid money.
Right. Right. Like, I was like, she will be over the edge with it. But it was just this sense of giving them that freedom to truly express how they feel. Mm-hmm. And I think really giving our kids social emotional skills, mm-hmm. Is really important in this day and age. as a way to freely express themselves and express themselves in a constructive and proper manner.
Right.
Because I think we grew up, you know, you children are seen, not heard.
Seen, not heard.
You know, that is how we grew up, and it was just like, no, you got an opinion? What?
Yeah.
You a kid. You ain't got no opinion here.
No.
You know, and that's how we grew up.
That's exactly how we grew up. Like, our opinion didn't matter. It was because I said so.
Yes.
But I believe that if we didn't give our kids if we didn't give our kids the space and the openness to express ourselves, we wouldn't know what was going on with them.
Yeah.
We have to be able to show that grace to them, to allow them the space to come in and let us know when they're not okay. Because if we don't, then you know, we run the risk of not really knowing our kids.
Yeah.
And questioning whether or not we've done all we could do.
Yeah. I mean, but then, you know, I you know, we were just having this conversation earlier about, you know, yes, giving them grace, but when do I give them too much grace?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And you know, and how to release ourselves from the guilt, the shame of parenting and the choices that we've made as parents.
Mm-hmm.
And I think in that midnight hour cry, that was one of the things that I cried about. And you know, and I'm still learning to let go and to forgive myself and release myself of what I feel are my parenting mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
Because like someone always tell me, there is no manual to this parenting thing.
No.
You know, it is a trial and error and grace from God.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that those are the ingredients of parenting for me. It's grace from God and trial and error.
And also having the accountability.
Yeah.
Well.
Yes. But kids make you accountable.
They do.
Like, Zara makes me accountable for me not being okay or being okay. Mm-hmm. She will truly ask the questions like, you know, well, mommy, I'm not understanding why this, and well, could you explain that? And she wants to know, like, when she sees, because throughout the whole journey, Zara saw every emotion
Mm-hmm.
that I could possibly have as a human being, and I tried to shield her from it. I mean, I really tried to control what she saw in that process of me going through chemo. I didn't want her to see all of it. But she's such an inquisitive kid that when she saw something, she always had questions. And she always wanted to have more information. You know, like, you know, when we first told her that I had cancer, and she was like, okay, but what is cancer? And, you know, and I, being the teacher, I had a whole lesson plan ready when I told her. Like, I was like, okay, and we're going to watch this video, and we're going to do this, and we're going to do that. Like, I had it laid out ready to go, and her dad is just like, just let her feel. Just let her. And so we watched this video, and she's looking at the video, and she's like, okay. And I'm like, and then if you have more questions, this is on your stuff, you can watch it again. You know, we had all of this, and she just looked at me and she goes, but we're going to be okay, right? And I'm like, And the fact that she said we, she didn't say you, she didn't say anything. She said we. And that has always stuck with me. Because my daughter all had already recognized that we were going through this journey together. And so she knew at the age of 7, you know, that we weren't going to be, it wasn't going to be an easy journey. It wasn't going to be anything, but we were still going to be okay. Yeah. And so as I went through that journey, she was the one who very often reassured me. Like, she would come in and she would look at my face and see that I wasn't okay. And she would we have a song that we play all the time. And so when I wasn't okay, she would come in and just play the song. And even if I couldn't get up and dance with her, or even if I wasn't saying the words with her, she would just come and we would play our song and she'd put her head on mine. To tell me it was okay. And that she recognized that I wasn't okay and it was still okay.
Yeah.
And so she's an awesome little human being.
Yeah. She is. She really is.
Yeah, she is. Peyton is too.
I guess.
Pay,
yeah, she really is.
I remember when Pay came over. I remember when one time Pay came over and she just came in the room and she said, "You okay?" And I said, "I'm okay." And she said, "Okay." And then she came and just looked in the room and she just stood there and looked. And then she just climbed in the bed with me. And then she just didn't even say anything. And it wasn't anything like, it was just like, well, aren't you supposed to be, you're supposed to be having a play date with Zara. But she laid in the bed with me for a little while. And then she got up, of course, and I was ignored. That those two went on about their business. But she came in, like, the first thing was me. And you know how difficult it is with them two for us to ever get any recognition when those two get together. So it was always sweet for her to also recognize it.
Yeah, it is. Even though I think she didn't have a lot of understanding as much as Zara did, she could still sense it.
Yeah.
Still sense it.
I think they do.
So acknowledging and having that validity of not being okay, you still have to find a way to dig yourself out of that.
Yes.
For me, you know, and I do this every week, you know, of course we're going to have our good days, but when we have our bad days, I allow it to be a bad day and know that I can reset and know that it's going to be a different day and a different chance to have a good day.
Right.
How do you go? How have you dealt with that?
Bad dates. Ooh. I mean, acknowledging that it's a bad day is one. I think having some, I'm not going to say tools, but things when you're having a bad day. Like when I have a bad day, like I said, me and Zara have a song. We have our song. And that song always puts a smile on my face. I have, I don't know what you're talking about, kid.
Can I get up there?
No. I have a song that I can play. I have friends that pump me up. And so I think that's a really important is a village. And your village isn't like 20 people. It could be 2 people that just pump you up. Like when you're having a bad day, you know, tell you that you're gorgeous. You know, tell you, you know, hey, you got this. And I have a really good village of that. Devotional is a big thing for me. So taking a moment to go to God, you know, and saying a small prayer. But like you said, I think also just understanding that that's a moment, understanding a bad day is a moment in the grand scheme of life. In that, even though, and it's a very small moment.
Very small.
Right.
Like, you're not even going to remember it 2 weeks from now.
Right. And so
you're not.
And so I'm like, so I think that's also my attitude, is just saying this is a small moment. And you know, and then also recognizing sometimes bad days are just make for an even better day.
Or bad weeks makes for a better week as well. Right.
Like, you know, I'm like, I call I don't even know if I've ever even told you this. I call my chemo or my cancer journey the longest shower. And I've called it the longest shower for I can't even remember. Just because showers have so many purpose to them, right? Like, one, shower gets rid of all the dirt, right? Showers are also needed to bring life and to grow things. And so I always think, like, a bad day, oh, it's just another shower. So that means it's getting rid of all the yuckiness while growing into something that's needed. And so when I really started thinking of really that's how bad days are, there's just showers that we need in life in order to grow and to get rid of. And so that's kind of how I've started to look at bad days. As that.
I want to take a shower now.
I know.
I mean, I already took one, but
which I'm so happy about.
I took one. So,
but yeah,
that really makes me want to. But that's a great analogy of just thinking of having, you know, you can have the worst day, and just knowing that you're able to just cleanse yourself of that.
Yes, and let me tell you, and legit, think about it. If you've had a really bad day and then go take a hot shower,
it makes you feel so much better.
It makes you feel so much better.
So much better.
It does.
You're getting rid of all the dirt and the stress from that particular moment.
And the heat from the shower relaxes your muscles. Yes. It just does so much. And so, I mean, like, if I'm having a bad day, like, a shower, I'm like, oh, yeah, let me go shower. Let me go shower. Like, strangely enough, when I was going, when I was in active treatment, that was literally my daily goal, was just to shower. And people don't understand all the time, like, as you're going through chemo, like, that is really, really hard to find the strength to get up and go shower. But when I found it, that shower was the best reward in the world. Just because it literally got rid of all that heaviness and all the gunk and all the yuckiness of whatever it is that I may have been going through. And so, cancer is called the longest shower. The longest shower. That I'm still in. I am still in
the shower.
In the shower right now. Because I'm still not okay. I'm physically okay. Yes. So physically finished active treatment. But now, you know, you're dealing with the mental side of cancer. In which people don't talk about, or people don't recognize that cancer patients go through. And so I'm dealing with that, and, you know, every day I take it a moment at a time. I give myself a little bit of grace, a little bit of self-love. I remind myself, like you say, it's okay not to be okay. And so I live in the not being okay stage right now. And I just know that it's going to get better.
Yeah. And just having that, confirmation that you know it's going to get better.
Yeah.
There has to be some way where it's going to get better.
Yeah. Because you don't stay, no one, that is, you don't stay in a negative place.
No.
We have bad stuff happens.
Mm-hmm.
But it's, what do you do with the bad stuff? What do you do? Do you take that bad stuff and decide to make something beautiful out of it?
Mm-hmm.
Or do you decide to make something ugly? And the choice that I make is to make something beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Out of the ugliness, out of everything else. And so it propels me to the next phase of my life and the next step in this journey of life.
Mm-hmm. I'm proud of you.
I'm proud of you.
You're proud of me?
Girl, taking this step. Okay, you guys, you have to understand this. We talked about a podcast.
We talked about a book.
We talked about the podcast too. We talked about a podcast maybe last year or maybe even a year before that. We talked about you wanting to do a podcast, and you were just like, well, I don't know. And then to see you take that leap and take that journey into doing this, I'm super dope, super proud of everything that you do.
And I think one thing about this journey is that I'm not really the expectation of this podcast. I don't have any expectations for it. I'm sorry, I take that back. I do have an expectation. And that is just, it is just hoping that someone is able to take the advice or the gems that I've been given, and that I'm able to just provide an outlet for anyone who's feeling this certain way, or having these certain feelings about the topics that I discuss, and they're able to have validation and release for that, and to uplift and encourage them as far as what the next step should be.
Yeah.
And with you knowing that you're not okay, you're still taking the steps you need to get to that place to where you'll be okay.
Yeah, I'm against the Black culture. I do see a therapist.
Mm-hmm.
Actively tell anybody therapy is wonderful.
It is.
You have to find the right person.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I actively do therapy. I actively spend time with God, who is molding me, and developing me.
Mm-hmm.
And so that is the big thing. And then just trying to be true and listen to that voice in my gut, or in me, that's telling me, take this time, do this, do that. For me, some people say it's that gut. For me, I feel like it's the Holy Spirit who just guides me into what I need to do. And so that's where I'm really at. Like I said, but therapy is wonderful. Take the time to really find someone that you can be very open and honest with about the things that you're going through, the thoughts that you're having, the feelings that you're having, because it's really important. And a therapist doesn't always have to be someone who is licensed. I think when I first started therapy with my pastor. And then I kind of got a little bit more comfortable, and then I was like, okay, I actually went and found me a real therapist. Therapy is also a session with your best friend over a glass of wine, getting all those feelings and all those thoughts out, but finding.
We don't have any wine.
No, you don't have any wine. I have wine. See?
Oh, well, I don't have any wine, but it's okay.
I have it. Her issue. But it's being somewhere where you can get all those feelings out. And really get those feelings out. And not have to feel like you have to sugarcoat it. It is sweet. That stuff that you drink, we don't know what it is, honey.
I drink dry wine, guys.
Yes, she does. And it's disgusting.
I love it. White girl vibes.
All the way through. And you like it at room temperature.
Yes, I do.
But yeah. I guess that's the best advice I can tell somebody. It's therapy. Therapy and a long shower are my two fix.
For me, therapy is definitely one. And ironically, it took and also medication too. It took someone to tell me, I need more than just therapy.
Yeah. Yeah.
I need more than just someone talking to me.
Yeah.
And, knowing, my family and their beliefs on medication, it really instilled in me the fear of change. Mm-hmm. How is this going to change me? Is this really going to impact who I am? Is this taking away from who I am? And just being able to trust my doctor and the best options that were available to me. Mm-hmm. And first having that open conversation about it with your doctor was really what helped me to have some sort of peace. And she didn't push it on me. She allowed me to make that decision for myself.
Yeah.
But, 7 years ago.
Yeah. I think that's when you first had your first, yeah.
I didn't even know it was what I needed.
Yeah.
I couldn't, comprehend the thought of me being medicated.
Yeah.
But once I had those conversations, I talked about it, I took the plunge and I went for it. And it was the best thing for me because it allowed me to take my situation and put it to the side, and it allowed me to focus on what was important.
Yeah. I mean, I've done therapy for years, but it wasn't until my cancer diagnosis that I decided to get on medication. Mm-hmm. And I never had the fear of medication.
I had the fear.
Yeah, I don't think I ever had the fear of medication. I just never did it. I just never. It was just like, I think I'm okay. I'm fine. I just need to talk. That's it. I don't need any medication. Now, me and that happy pill. Yeah. I very much notice a difference. But like you said, it's trusting your doctor and having an open conversation with your doctor. My doctor, because my doctor didn't try pharmaceutical medication first with me. They try looking at some natural kind of teas, some other different, Chinese remedies to kind of help. Before it was where those weren't really helping with what I needed to be helped with. Mm-hmm. And then they prescribed something.
Right.
So I really appreciated that, of thinking, what were some of the natural ways to do that? And the fact that my doctor allowed me to kind of ease myself into it. And I think that's really what you're talking about, is having trusting your doctor, your doctor, and having real conversations. Because is medication for everybody? No.
It's not.
No.
I honestly thought medication was not for me. Like, it wasn't even an option for me to comprehend that was something I had to even decide or to consider for myself. But trusting but I think when I went into the doctor's office, I allowed myself for the first time just to be open and honest and say, I'm going to be honest, Dr. Wiseman, I don't know anything about, the medications that are out there that could help me. I'm scared. I don't know how this is going to change me. What can you advise? And, she didn't put that pressure on me. She just started with something that she knew could help me.
Yeah.
And once I opened up the opportunity to accept what I was given, I realized that this was probably the best route for me, and know that medication is only temporary. It's not something that has a longevity.
Yours isn't. Shoot, I'll probably be on it for the rest of my life.
Well, okay, for some people.
Me and this happy pill do wonders. It's like, let me stop.
For some people.
Yeah.
Some people, are on it for anywhere from 6 months to a year, maybe 2 years, and maybe longer for you.
Yeah.
But for me, and with my anxiety, I only use it when I need it.
Yep.
It's not a crutch for me. I go other avenues of, handling certain situations where I don't feel like I'm okay. I journal. I talk to my therapist. I, have a support system. She's been my support system. She knows my triggers. She tells me to go outside.
Ooh, learning those triggers.
When
Ooh. Yeah, that's a key.
Knowing those triggers.
Learning your triggers. I think that might be another podcast. Is just trying to figure out what are those triggers.
Right.
And learning them, because that is real.
That is. But I think you caught on really quick where you're just like, just go outside. You need air.
Yeah.
Get outside. And, there would be moments where I would just take Izzy, our dog out, and I would have the biggest release of just air. Because I could feel it. And there are moments where, I could be having a great day, and I'll still feel it right here. It's just building and building and building, and I haven't had anything that stressed me out or anything like that. It could just come. And knowing and having that feeling of when it comes, just knowing how to prepare myself, put myself in a situation to where it's I'm going to be okay, try to bring that pressure down.
Yeah.
It's really been helpful.
And I think that's what it really means to be okay with not being okay. Is just that, is the knowing that is going to happen. But what can I do when it happens? What are the things that I need when it happens? Like you said, for you, when you start feeling it in your chest, we've had where you've called me. You've had it where okay, it's time for me to go give Izzy a walk. I need the fresh air. For me, when I start feeling it, I will put on some music. For me, I am not a writer. I hate writing. But will I dance? Yeah, I will dance myself silly. I will go and take a long hot shower. Those are the things that when I start feeling those triggers of me not being okay, that I do. And sometimes I'm preemptive about my triggers. Like, I know the month of November is a huge trigger. November, December are trigger months for me. So I tell people in advance. I give them the fair warning. November's coming around. Don't have any expectations for me.
Yeah.
Do not have this, because those are trigger months, and I don't know how I'm going to be from minute to minute. So November, December, I never know how I'm going to feel minute to minute. And so because of that, in October, I start telling people, please don't have expectations for me in November.
I don't expectations. I've never had expectations.
Right? Don't think I'm going to do anything. Don't think I'm this during that time, because I don't know how I'm going to feel moment to moment. Because I could bust out crying at any moment. I can bust out laughing at any moment. I can do that from moment to second to second. Like, I could be crying 1 second, and the next one I'll start laughing. Other days I might not. And that's just because, like I said, November and December are trigger months for me, and recognizing that. And so you put things in place during that time. I'm blessed. We're blessed enough to have friends and family that we can call, whenever, 2-3 o'clock in the morning. I remember that. I remember a 2:00 phone call of saying I'm not okay, and I just drove to where you were, and we cried. We just cried and came over. We cried some more and went to sleep. Got up the next day and did what we had to do. But it was that ability to not have to be okay or go through moments like that by ourselves.
I want to say, like, when you came over, that was clutch, man.
I mean, but that's what cousin, sister, friends are supposed to be.
She knew me right then and there.
Like, that's where we're at.
I literally said, as soon as she handed it to me, I said, I love you. I was like, literally, like, you guys, I was like snot-nosed face crying. I think the person in the other car was just like looking.
Probably was.
It was like, what is going on with her? Like, I was just, spilling my heart out and having that moment where I wasn't okay. And, just taking the moment, she listened to me. I went off a couple of times, and, but, and I still cried. I think I cried like for a couple of days, but and know that it can take a couple of days.
Yes.
I don't want you guys to think that, it's, you have a moment where it's like one day and it's you're gonna be okay. Know that when you need the time, you take the time, take as long as you need, but don't stay there.
Right.
Because life is worth so much more.
Yes.
There are so much more things that you can do for you. And once you realize that, you know that you can see that at the end of the tunnel it's going to be okay.
Yeah. I mean, but let me be very honest in saying, like, I have not been okay since November 22nd, 2020. I have not been okay. That's the day that I found out there was a possibility of me having cancer. I have not been okay since that day. I have good days, but 90% of the time, it's a fake smile. It's, I gotta do this.
I see your fake smile.
It's all those things happening, but there's also growth happening that has happened in those 2 years.
So much growth.
Yes. And so I want you to, if I can say anything to you, just like she said, you might not be okay for a very long time, But what makes it okay is, are you growing? Are you staying the same person and staying in that same place every day? And if you're staying in that same place every day, then you need to start asking why. Are you staying in that same place? And then what is the little step that you can do to start changing? And the little step, like for me, was a shower.
I think the little step for me was just, I mean, till this day, I still struggle. And what is my little, I call it a little win. But my little win is just getting up out the bed.
Yeah.
If I can literally say I got up out of the bed today, I know that even though the rest of the day may be bad or it could be good, I know that at least I made an effort to do the best that I could for that day.
Yeah.
To me, that's just it. You don't realize how much that could mean to you. You know, even Thursday, I was just like, I can't do it. I can't get out of bed. But, just having that, you know what? You may not be okay today, but it's okay. Get up. Have a productive day. Do something.
Yeah. Something. I love how you said a win. What are the little wins? I like to tell people, what are your little wins of the day? And like you said, the little win may be getting out of bed. For me, my win was always taking a shower. For you, it's getting out of bed. But I know another one of my little wins used to be, I ate a cracker. I ate a whole cracker today. Chemo does do that to you, where you don't want to eat. But that used to be a win for me. I ate a whole cracker. But as I realized and I started looking at those little wins, those little wins start adding up over time.
It does. It really does.
And then you can start seeing that growth that we're talking about. Those little wins every day. That little win. Guess what? I got out of bed 5 times in a row. And you're like, oh shit. Yeah, look at me.
Yeah.
But that's what we're talking. Those are the little growths and the things that not being okay gets you there.
It does.
By taking in those little wins and recognizing and applauding yourself for those little wins. Hey, I took a shower is not something that someone's going to applaud me for.
Hey, I woke up.
Yeah. Right. No one necessarily is always going to applaud you for those little wins. So even though nobody else applauds you, you applaud yourself. You do your little dance. You cheer yourself on for those little wins that you have deemed for yourself.
And just know that those little wins, like you said, they really do go a long way.
Yeah.
Because you can see from each day that you woke up, you can see all of what you've been able to do, all of what you've been able to accomplish, and feel some sort of pride within yourself. Now there are times where there are a lot of people even till this day that encourage me, and they say how much how proud of they are of me, or saying I don't know how you do it, I don't know how you are able to do so much and still stay humble, and I don't really like praise or anything like that. I'm just a person that has always I've just always been a person that's just been hardworking and has always seen the fruits of my labor. They may not have come in the ways that I wanted them to, but they've always come at the exact moment when I needed them the most.
Yeah.
And you know, even when people say they're proud of me to this day, I'm like, okay, you know, all I can do is try. And that's the same thing. Same thing applies. All you can do is try.
Mm-hmm.
So I encourage you all to just continue to know that there may be moments where you're not okay.
Mm-hmm.
But know that you're going to be okay. Find little wins in your life that makes you proud to be the person that you are.
Yeah. Sit in it. It's okay to sit in your not okayness.
Oh yeah, it's okay.
It's okay to sit in your not okayness.
We're saying it's okay.
It is. Yeah, it's okay to sit in your okayness. Just don't stay in it.
Don't let your mind get to that dark place, because once you succumb to that darkness, you're not going to see the light of day.
Yeah. And no, you also got friends, sister friends that are here. If you need a pump up, a cheer up, you know, get with those sister friends and, you know, get that pump up, cheer up that, you know, that you may need. I mean, they're out there.
She's my, I don't know if you guys listened to my first episode and you heard of my accountability person, this is her right here.
Yay!
She's literally the first person that I call, or I will literally text her and I'm like, I'm so mad. I'll literally be like,
I can't believe this happened.
I can't believe this happened. I'll be like, cousin, and she's like,
Yes.
What?
What's
What's going on? I'll be like, come get your cousin. Oh yeah, my daughter, come get your cousin.
Yeah.
What she do?
Yeah.
A, B, and C.
Yep.
E, F, G. H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P.
Yes. Well, but I think that goes both ways. Like, I would be like, you will not believe what this little one here did. And it's
No.
what?
She'll say, you'll say, your cousin hurt my feelings.
Oh my gosh.
She'll be like, she literally just hurt my feelings. I was just like, what she did?
Yeah, Zara is good for hurting my feelings. She is good for just, like, my daughter doesn't love me at all. She, whatever comes to her mind, oh my gosh, like, did I tell, since we're talking about my daughter, so because of my cancer, I do not have eyebrows. I mean, so, yeah, I don't have eyebrows. So Thursday took this makeup class. Yeah. This makeup class to start, because you know I don't wear makeup.
Mm-hmm.
To start learning how to put makeup on. And to teach me how to do eyebrows, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I did my eyebrows. I was like, my first try putting my eyebrows on. This one was a little high. This one was kind of low. It wasn't all the way together, but I'm like, hey, they looked pretty decent.
Practice makes perfect.
Exactly. That kid of mine,
I already know.
was like, Mom, go try again.
I didn't say that. I said, Mommy, you look beautiful without the makeup. For your information, I gave you a compliment. Then I roasted you. So you can feel a little bit better.
So I would not feel so bad. Like, that's my kid. That's
softened the blow.
Yeah,
right. She wanted to soften the blow for me, but straight was just like, Mom, your eyebrows. Like, what's wrong? Like,
you look good.
just straight talked about me and my little eyebrows. And I was kind of somewhat proud of my eyebrows because I was like, I don't do makeup.
She tried to do something, y'all.
I did, but my daughter just hurt my little feelings. Like, that's the life that I live.
Girl, listen, Pay be hurt my feelings all the time.
I do not.
Just,
Yeah, you do.
that's why they're two peas in the same pod.
I know. All right, guys. This concludes That Black Girl Brew podcast. Please feel free to subscribe, like, share, comment. Look at the kids. Just look at them. Please feel free to like, share, comment, and subscribe. And if also as well, if you're listening to this
subscribe.
podcast,
We're adorable and nice children.
and if you're also listening on podcasts, please feel free to leave a review. I'm always interested into what you guys have to say. Until next time, guys. I'll see you guys later.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
You ain't